up, y'all? Welcome back. Today we're playing with a new brand to my channel called Florasis. Now, if that name doesn't ring a bell for you, looking at the products will, because they are really well known and really recognizable. They're very recognizable for having this incredible embossing in all of their products. Now, this is not a first impression, so if this looks a little bit soft focus, it's because I already stuck my fingers in it. They also sent me some skincare. I will share that with y'all in a minute and kind of my thoughts on it, but we're gonna be putting the makeup on my face today. So this is the Florasis Floral Engraving Phoenix Makeup Palette in 03 Soaring Sunlight. We have some neutrals, we have all sorts of textures, we have some brights here. I'm gonna swatch all these for you. Again, I've had the chance to wear these, so I already have some thoughts together. They also sent me 3 lip products, like 3 cosmetic lip products, and then also a little like skincare lip balm thing that I'm gonna use to like prep my skin with. But 2 of these, I think they call them Jade-like glowing lip glosses. This really follows what I expect a lot of times, like what I see on Trend Mood and stuff when we're talking about like K-Beauty, J-Beauty. This is a Chinese company, and the trend for lips I have seen a lot lately is that the lip colors tend to be very like stain oriented, and they tend to gravitate more towards like saturated berry reds and pinks and things like that are not the easiest thing for me to wear because I have small features and I have a very like low contrast complexion hair situation. So when I put something like that on my lips, boom, my lips look like the biggest thing on my face because they are. Then also it kind of just like throws off my contrast and I feel like I need to put on a ton more makeup to compensate for it. So I will swatch these for y'all. I will apply one, but it is a stain and it's not necessarily, I'm not sure if it's pH adjusting. I don't think that it is, but it almost behaves that way because it has stain to it. So the other lip product that they sent, y'all get ready. Like, are you kidding me? Look at this thing. It's wild. Like, I don't know which way is up to hold it. I think it's this. So the tassel does like that. And look at all the filigree and engraving on the outside. This entire piece comes out. It is beautifully engraved on the outside. It has this whole like scene of birds and landscape and stuff like that on it. It's gorgeous. And the color, as much as it looks like it's going to just be like a brownie nude, if you're detecting a little bit of orange, you are right. And that's going to lead us in the direction of this entire makeup look today. So we are going to start with, you know, complexion and things like that that have nothing to do with Florasis. I'm gonna tell y'all what I'm gonna put on and then I'll zoom through it so that we can hop straight to the Florasis makeup. But we're going to like deep dive on all of these things and we will have some final thoughts for you at the end. So let's go ahead and jump in. First things first, I'm going to prep with this. This is the Moisturizing Ginseng Lip Mask. It's kind of hard to see because it's clear and the light wants to reflect off of it, but it's like minty and also rosy. And so when you put it on, you know, you get a little bit of that like minty sensation and it's pretty like soft to the touch. It's really nice. And it comes with the component and then the little cartridge that goes in there. And then they also were kind enough to send another cartridge for replacement purposes. So it's quite lovely. Great skin prep. Gonna be really good for all the lip swatching I'm about to do because we're gonna put 2 different lip products on. Lovely. So I'm in the mood to do something obviously really hydrating because it's wintry outside right now. It's not technically winter yet, but you wouldn't know it in New Jersey. So this is the Dewy Skin Vitamin C Glass Glow Primer from Ciate. Gonna start with that. Gonna go in with my Cicapair here, even though my sunscreen is doing a pretty good job of kind of camouflaging my perioral dermatitis. I still love using this. And then I'm gonna use the Fenty Beauty Foundation Stick and some of my Givenchy Prisme Libre concealer. So let's zoom through that and then we will start putting this makeup on in a really weird order. It's gonna look weird before it looks good, okay? Bear with me. blanked out. Like I told y'all, it's gonna look weird before it looks good because there's no blush that they sent me. There's no bronzer that they sent me. Yeah, I'm a little reflective at the moment. I'm your favorite reflective surface. But we are going to jump straight in on the eyes because the lipstick is a little bit orange, like I said. And so when I've done this makeup look in the past using all these products, I have just noticed that like everything needs to gravitate back towards orange. And this is something that comes up a lot on my channel because people tend to kind of look at my looks and say like, okay, like her configurations of her makeup are pretty much like the same in each video, which is completely true. Like I'm not sitting here doing like, I don't know, like total transformations on my face or like really like contrasty looks in most cases. But my approach for any makeup look in order to make it look at home and make me feel like sexy and beautiful when I'm done with it is to find the kind of central tone of the look of the makeup that I'm using that day and let that be what I focus kind of the tonal look around. Tonal meaning it's kind of all the same color, right? So it's like, it's gonna look weird at first because we're focusing on orange-ish, which is like not necessarily like my best color to apply directly to my lips, right? But if we can kind of lean the entire look in that direction and make it all look like orange is a normal color on me, then yeah, it's gonna end up looking kind of like every other look, but it's because you've made it look at home. And like, that's where the art math comes in, right? And that's kind of what I'm trying to bridge is it's like, okay, yes, you can wear these colors. You can wear colors, I'm touching the little tassel. You can wear the colors that aren't necessarily native to your skin tone, but it's just about like balancing them out and making sure that like the other stuff that you put on your face also makes sense with it. So that's what this is going to be kind of a demonstration of. Okay, so like I said, this is, let's see, how much is this? Oh wow, you can get this on Amazon? Do they have like an Amazon store or is this a reseller? Whoa, they have an Amazon store? Dang, you can get this stuff on Amazon! I love that. Like this is definitely luxury beauty and honestly like what I was in pursuit of in terms of answers, like questions I'm trying to answer by making this content was like, is this all style and no substance? I think that that's the first thing, the first like intuitive question that comes to mind when you look at Florasis because they could be compensated for something. Do you know what I mean? It's like so pretty. You're like, but is it good makeup? Like, is it gonna perform? And that, yeah, that was what I aimed to solve in this one. So you can get this on Amazon, which is pretty cool. But this palette is $59 and it comes in, appears to come in 3 colorways. I'm gonna swatch this and I'm going to give y'all my like first impressions of this color story. Again, this is an 03 Soaring Sunlight. And I know it feels like sacrilege to ruin this embossing, but like it's makeup. That's my philosophy on it. It's just makeup and I am a use my makeup person. And we have a variety of textures here, which is cool for this to be my first palette that I'm trying from Florasis because we have mattes in these, you know, beautiful, super, you know, easy to wear for me kind of colors. We have some beautiful satins, some great glitters, and then we also have some toppers here. And the toppers kind of vary, you know, in a very like nice neutral to maybe warm-ish kind of champagne color, giving like, you know, boy tears from Hindash or something. And then, you know, these kind of cooler mauvey shades as well. So it's like when you're starting with a base of the mattes, which is, you know, what I typically do. I just kind of map it out and then I editorialize on top for like my, you know, decisions on what the colors are going to be in my look that day. I can go warm or cool using this palette and you can get some, you know, you can get some drama out of there too. Am I gonna be putting blue and green on my eyes today? No, I'm not, because I have grown past that point on my channel where I am over here being like, I need to never back down from a challenge. When a palette presents me with the brightest color, I need to show what it does because that's not what people want. People want to see what an everyday makeup look looks like with a new product, and that's what we're going to do today. It's still going to be drama because like we're going to use this shade right here. Like I said, we are pulling in the orange of it all today, and this is this beautiful like fiery orange color, and that's going to be like the focal point on my eyelid, but I can't make green blue look good on me. I just can't. That's just not going to happen. So let's stay feet firmly on the ground and do what's realistic. So here's one thing. Here's one thing. They don't wear very long. Like that just, they're gone. They don't have a lot of grip on their own to the product itself. Like it really takes almost nothing for most of those shades to go away. And that was my experience wearing them. So I would recommend using some kind of gripping primer or even a glitter glue on the lid or something, because I'm talking like 3 hours and the shimmer was just, I mean, gone off my eyes. I don't have oily eyelids, but I do wear dewy makeup. I did not make any efforts, take any pains to try and like prime my eyes the first time that I used this. And I'm still not going to, because I just don't really do that as a rule. And I want to show y'all like what this performs like when you don't. But understand that like if these colors and if the experience of interacting with this product really appeals to you enough that you want to buy it, you're probably going to have to do a little bit of extra work to get these to stay. All right, so I've got me some Refer brushes here. I do find that these work pretty well with a natural bristle brush. Just, you gotta be a little bit more careful, but I feel like they blend better with it. Mainly because, and you can follow me on this, okay? This is very unscientific. I'm going to start with the safest color here. That's what I'm starting with. This is very, very unscientific, but when you first get the palette and there's like the very distinct engraving in the embossing, a natural bristle brush is going to pick the product up more evenly, whereas a synthetic brush kind of like kicks it up in the pan and doesn't want to like grab it as much, and you end up picking the product up less consistently. I know! It's a silly thing to quibble about, but it's worth pointing out that like the embossing, when you first get it, because the embossing goes away pretty fast, when you first get it, that embossing does make it a little bit challenging to pick up an even amount of product right away. But I also dig into my products. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't have any kind of like sanctity around like preserving and embossing. I'm like, use that makeup kind of thing. So you might be different. If this is your first video of mine that you're watching, hello, hi, my name's Khaki. And I'm always like this, even in real life. But the way that I typically build an eye look is to start with some neutrals and, you know, mattes in the crease and stuff to like build the scaffolding. And I do it almost the same way every single time. And it really helps to kind of show apples to apples the way that like different formulas are going to perform, because you're seeing a constant and a variable. The constant is the format that I tend to put it in. So even if I'm using like the Victoria Beckham eyeshadow sticks, like I'm still doing this. Like this looks like trench and pecan, right? So I'm using this to build a nice matte kind of shadow that goes into my crease and also onto the outer portion of my lid, because I have small close set eyes that I'm very self-conscious about, and I talk about them all the time. And my efforts in building an illusion on my eyes really center around making my eyes look bigger and farther apart. That's all. That is what I do first pretty much every time. It's almost just an extension of a contour, is to just, you know, almost contour my eyes. So then I'm gonna take, that was the Refer 15, and now I'm gonna take the 13, which is this little BB guy, and I'm gonna take the brown, the like, you know, darker brown. I love actually that hello English, that they have multiple colorways in each of these. So it's like, you're not just looking at it going, well, that might work for you, but like what's gonna work for me and my like undertones or whatever. Like there are options. It's pretty cool. So I'm going to now place this, again, just enhancing that outer corner. That's the placement right there, is that kind of like deep crease. This is a great brush to get in that area too, because that is, especially as we get older, a lot of times like this area on our eyes that wants to shed product for some reason. It's just like if you're using the wrong brush, certain formulas, Natasha Denona, I'm looking at you, like will not cling there. Like they just won't bond to my skin, and it drives me crazy. So this is like the perfect shape, and it's very precise. You wouldn't think something that long would be precise, but it is, because they're so densely packed that you're not getting like, you know, fluffing product everywhere. So I think that that's quite useful, and they really blend beautifully. They are, you know, very soft and silky, but again, like the eye look did okay. It did. And y'all saw when I wiped these off, the mattes are actually what stuck around. The mattes are good. I would use, like I said, like a primer or a glitter glue if you are using the glitters. Taking that 15 again and just using that to blend everything together. Make sure everything's really diffused. And on an art math color theory, you know, how things read to the eye sort of stance. The reason that I start with a matte is because matte is going to help absorb light and it's not going to like obscure the illusion that I'm trying to create. So I feel like Ina Garden sometimes, the way that like you could treat my videos kind of like a drinking game, the way that, you know, I'm always gonna say add coffee to chocolate, it's gonna make the chocolate taste more like chocolate. That's a joke you'll only get if you watch a lot of Ina Garden, but I'm like always, there are just certain things that I always say. Hopefully it makes people feel grounded, not bored. That is a lovely bit of illusion there, you know, already drawing the eye like, oh, where is the outer corner? We don't know. It could just be a lot bigger than it usually is, you know. So the other color that, well, I'm gonna use two more colors here, but this is the main character today, and it does have a nice flat spot in the embossing, and so that's where I'm going to, you know, focus my finger, and I'm going to put that right here, and it's going to really light up the whole look. It's so gorgeous. The thing about these is I have never thought about an eyeshadow formula as being like heavy before, but these are like light as air. They're featherweight. It's just interesting. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a weird thing to think about an eyeshadow having like weight to it. These are weightless. And so as I'm putting this on, it's like you're getting so much color impact for so little product, which is cool. But again, like I think that it's the lightweight, sort of extraordinarily finely milled nature of these that makes it so that they're not quite as tenacious on the skin. Versus something like Anastasia, the Rose Metals palette. There's a very similar kind of fiery shade in the Rose Metals palette to this. They have a really heavy presence on the eyes. My camera apparently cut me off like one step before I thought that it did. The only thing that y'all miss was applying this shade right here, this topper shade that's just kind of a spangly glitter on my inner corner and a little bit onto my lid. So if you see that it's a little bit more blended, that's all that you missed, and then we'll jump straight to, you know, talking about the powder and the brushes that I like to apply powder with. I don't know when my camera cut me off. So I was talking about brushes for applying powder because I'm applying a little bit of the Kosas powder. I have here some of my favorites, new and old. We have Rattly Natalie. This is the BK 108. The reason I call her Rattly Natalie is because she Rattly Natalie's. I love this one. This is like my favorite for applying powder. I have two of the new BK by Nikki Rose brushes, the N15 and the N17. These are also great. And then this one from Rephr. This is the Rephr 18, another great shape for applying powder in precise areas. I feel like I've been talking a lot about like the old days of the beauty community lately because I watched so much content before I started making content kind of thing. And so I'm like lately just kind of reflecting, and we really did used to take a whole giant brush, you know, something like this size or even bigger, you know, like my gigantic Thrive brush, and like, oh, it's got paint in it. Huh, that's what you get, Khaki. Doing your two projects too close to each other. Yeah, we used to apply powder all over our entire face with something like this. I learned that my face doesn't like that. I just do it in really like precise little areas, and then I basically only use, I mean, I love the Givenchy as well, but like I lean so hard on the Kosas powder because it really like hardly does anything. Like that's kind of the point, right? Is that I want a little bit of mattification so that it doesn't distract my eye when I'm looking at the makeup look, but I don't want it to look powdered because my eyes will get crepey so fast, and it's just not a flattering look on super dry skin like mine. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with like bronzer and blush and stuff, and I'm going to walk you through the way that I'm choosing these things because I think that that's the challenge of this makeup look, is trying to make, honestly, this destination right here, this focal point of the look, which is this lip. Let me just swatch it for you. It's more orange than you think it is. And putting that on, it's actually, it can be very flattering. It's kind of this like desaturated apricot kind of color. But the challenge again is to like not get my cheeks too pink, for example, or too mauve. That would be a nightmare. I'm sorry. That's an exaggeration. Okay, it wouldn't be a nightmare. It'd be fixable. But I want to make everything look at home with this color, and so that's where I'm focusing my attention. And so I'm going to start by bronzing. Like this isn't, you know, obviously the same color, but I feel like it's not going to interfere. This is the Gucci bronzer. And so I'm going to grab a BK 104, and it's just a great winter bronzer for me. It's almost like, you know, using, oh, good job, Khaki. I, for a second, thought that I was applying cream product. Like that's the motion that I just used, was as if I was doing cream product. So that just laid down a ton. That's okay. But This is in the fairest shade in the Gucci, and it's just so easy to like pound it on because it's blushy. So that's where I'm going with that right now, is for a blushy bronze look. Nice, 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 nice. Bring the life back to my cheeks because I do tend to look pretty ghostly as a reflective surface. And the blush that I'm going to use today is discontinued, and I'm sorry, but this is a color theory exercise, okay? So this is the very limited edition, and I bought both of them. Chanel, I'm not even gonna try, the Equinox blushes from fall of this year, and this is the coral one. There's also a mauve one, and they are audacious in their commitment to the bit, right? The mauve one is like a mauve, and the coral one is like coral. And so it's going to do a really good job of like matching the energy of like the orange in this, but being balanced enough that it's not gonna look, I don't know, just like contrasty and weird. So we use the same brush, and we're gonna do beep, 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 beep. Fortunately, you know, Chanel knows how to formulate a powder blush. They really do. And so even though this and the mauve are like definitely distinct colors from my collection, like there's nothing else like these colors or I would have used them, it's worth it to me to demonstrate the difference that it can make to use a color that feels daring, but everything else goes with it. Do you know what I mean? And like all of a sudden you're seeing that like my lips look weird. My lips look like rosy pink by comparison to everything else in this look, and that's the point. The lipstick is going to go beautifully with that. So filling in my cheeks here, love, love, love. And then I'm going to use some of my Charlotte Tilbury Filmstar Bronze and Glow and just use the contour there, not the highlight. I'm using that on Angie Hot and Flashy BK A507, and this is just a very easy contour to accomplish, I don't know, just kind of like sealing the edges of a look, right? I'm just trying to get a little bit of coolness and a little bit of believable shadow, but this is definitely not the most cool toned contour that I own. You could argue that like it's much more user-friendly because it could honestly be almost just a bronzer. And that's why it's a Bronze and Glow, but she calls it a contour. It's, yeah, that's Charlotte Tilbury for you. Okay. Nice, 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 nice. And we still have so much luminosity to the skin because of, and I swear to God, y'all, this is, I don't even know if it's expensive. They sent this to me. When I run out of it, I will repurchase it because nothing else behaves like this, but the Dewy Skin Primer from Ciate. If you got really dry skin and you just looking at yourself in the mirror in the morning and you're like, I don't know how I'm gonna make it happen, like, it's a godsend. Okay, so we have complexion pretty much done. My eyes, I still need eyeliner and brows and mascara, and I'm going to use the Cinnamon eyeliner from Victoria Beckham. This just is it's the right mood, it's the right color for this situation. It's like a beautiful brown that has this like little bit of like a spice color to it, you know what I mean? Like a cinnamon spice color to it in the shift, and that's going to complement this really beautifully. It's gonna pick up the gold. And then I'll do like, you know, my Kosas brow gel and brown mascara from Thrive because man, I am back on it. I am back on it. So I'm gonna do that. I need to sharpen this, but not today. I did get a little mascara elsewhere, but we'll take care of that when it dries. I am loving the way that the gold orange pulls something really like gold out of my eyes, and it's like matching with my gold jewelry and everything. Like, could I have gone for more drama in the crease? Yeah, absolutely. Like, you know, I think that this palette you could get a lot more drama out of than I did, but it's definitely like a super wearable kind of daytime look for me that is a little bit outside of what I would typically do in terms of just the, you know, the undertone of it. So let's do the Jade like glowing lip gloss. I'm gonna swatch these on my hand and I will apply one briefly before we put on a lipstick. But the lipstick is very opaque, so it's like not super risky. Now I don't have like, there might be shade names here, but I just have the shade numbers. A lot of this is in Chinese on the actual, you know, bottle, and I unfortunately Cannot read Chinese. So they did send these two beautiful colors. They're so pretty. But you'll see, and I'm not sure, like I said, I don't know if it's pH color changing or what, but first of all, like, so pretty, right? So that one, the beige one is G401, and then the kind of pinker one here is G301. And obviously the beige is what's going to appeal to me, but I swear when I put it on, it doesn't look like that. It's going to go quite pink on me, so just watch. And again, rosy. I mean, Florasis. You're going to be assuming that there is like a floral theme here, and there is. I don't know if it's a stain or if it's got a little bit of pH or something like that in it, but like that, I'm dead serious. That's the color I put on, was the beige, and it went that color on me. It looks like this one. So it's a really comfortable formula. It's that kind of liquid lip balm sort of feel to it. You know, it's got that nice kind of cushiony gel bounce to it. And it's pretty, it is, but it's like, it doesn't go with this look. And it's just not my thing, you know, it's not my shade. And a lot of times I think that that's what's kind of kept me from, oh, by the way, stain. I just wiped it off. Stain. That is, I say this all the time. The reasons that something isn't for me could be all the reasons that something is for you. And like, that's the beauty of like try on review. That's the reason that we spend so much time on these things, is so that you can see not just my opinion, like, is it good? It's like, no, see what it does. So you can see whether it's going to be something that you want to wear, because we're all different. So, but yeah, that's what's kept me from kind of like deep diving sometimes on some of these Asian beauty brands, is that like their color stories are not necessarily always for me. They do tend to go in this, like, especially the lips will go in a more, you know, just on the nose kind of pinky red direction, and that's the like the one color that's like the hardest for me to wear. Let's finally, as I've talked about this so much, put this on, and I do want to swatch this against my favorite like desaturated apricot kind of color, which is the La Perla Satin Lip Balm in Espresso Lips. And you'll see how like this is almost like a daring kind of, you know, apricot color. It's absolutely beautiful, but how much more orange we're talking about with the Florasis. And I'm not saying that they were aiming for this and they missed or something. I'm just saying like, it's a challenging color for me to wear. Like, do you see that? That's the La Perla, and it looks almost completely beige nude by comparison to this, because it's just got that, it's so much more of kind of like a rusty yellowy orange to it. Okay, here we go. And this is the shade Terracotta Romance. I never even mentioned that, idiot. The formula, amazing, like really good. I don't usually like talk about the benefits of like a matte lip, but I wore this for the entire podcast yesterday, and I reapplied it because I wanted to, but not because I had to. I was just kind of obsessed with it, honestly. Like, I was just like, ooh, I just want to put more on. But it lasts. It lasts like the Prada lipstick. Like, it's just a very, very good formula. Super easy to apply, super comfortable to wear. Again, weightless. That's the one thing that I would say about like all the products that I've tried from them, just like weightless. I mean, it's really giving something that's a little bit different from anything that I have in my collection. And I hope that, you know, to your eye, I kind of landed the plane. I feel like we could do a little bit more blush, and I feel like I can, you know, adjust my eyeliner just a little bit, but I hope that you see now like why we went for like orange, 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 because this orange lip that could look very, very strange on me looks more at home. And it actually, I feel like, complements my undertones a little bit. Like, it makes the brown of everything stand out. Like, you can almost tell that I have like brown mascara on instead of black as a result of focusing around the like peachy orange undertone. It's like much more complimentary of my own undertones, but it's not a beginner level approach to doing makeup. You're not just gonna apply on my complexion like this lip with any eye look kind of thing. Like, it's not, I make it look easy because I already did this before, and I kind of had to fine tune it and figure out how to make it not look weird. So a little bit more cinnamon. Since it's got shimmer to it, when it blends, it kind of can disappear, and I want to make sure, not disappear, but like look a little bit less effective, a little bit more sparse. And by the way, I didn't get to mention it because it was like silent, but I was using the BK 208 for my eyeliner. I mean, it is the smallest, most precise little eyeliner brush, and it's great at distributing the product without picking a bunch up or like getting it a bunch of different places. It's really, really nice. And then I'm gonna put on a little bit more of my Chanel blush just to torture everybody a little bit more. Ooh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't do my Victoria Beckham like underneath my eyes. I feel like it's okay in this sense, just because like we're not super contrasty. That's the Florasis vibe today. I think that for all of my, like this is a brand that I'm coming into with a ton of different like initial perceptions over the years. Like this is not something I came into blind. I feel like I ended up with something that is very well within my comfort zone in like the, you know, final look, much more so than I would have expected initially trying to wrap my head around the brand in general. I'm going to briefly chat to y'all about the skincare that they sent me and my experience with it so far, because I haven't used everything, and then we will close with final thoughts on these products. So I already showed you this beautiful lip product. This is the Moisturizing Ginseng Lip Mask, and I think that it's great. It's definitely something that I would continue using as like my skin prep, or, you know, keep it next to my bed or something as like a sleep mask. It's nice. It's not, I don't think it's like super lanolin rich or anything like that, but it doesn't feel like it's drying my lips out like a lot of minty things can. It feels nourishing. It's a nice experience, you know, and it has a replaceable cartridge, which I think is nice. You're going to keep that around. It's something that's going to stay in your memory. So they also sent a cleansing balm that's just in a tub, and it's down in my bathroom because I've been using it and I like it. It's just a great cleansing balm. I love a cleansing balm. It functions really beautifully. Like, I just think that it's very good. And so those definitely get like my encouragement, my stamp of approval. Where they kind of lose me, is when I got the Florasis Flower Nourishing Cleansing Oil, which I love a cleansing oil. And then I also got the Flower Water Makeup Remover Wipes. I was like, okay, cool, I'm game. Like, I'm not a makeup wipe person necessarily, but like when you're doing this for your job, sometimes a makeup wipe can be really clutch. They're in individual sachets. I don't really know what my opinion is on that. It almost feels like too precious to use. Yeah, I don't know why there are two. I'm sure that if I could read Chinese, I would know why there are two. But like each of these has like two separate components in it that I'm assuming do different things. Like, you know what I mean? It's like almost like a double cleanse or something. I don't know. Let me know. But the way that they're in separate sachets, it's just odd to me. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just not what I expected at all. Yeah, and then the same goes for this nourishing cleansing oil. This is the one that kind of drives me crazy because I'm like, I don't want you to decide how much cleansing oil I'm going to be using. Like, I'm just going to probably use a pump. Like, these are big. I don't know. And maybe you can buy like a pump of it and they just sent me this one and like, cool for travel, whatever. But like, I'm much more likely to bring the balm than to bring a little individual packet of this. What it feels like to me is like, this is just philosophical, but this weird like loop, right? It's like we go from drugstore, whatever the, you know, opposite of like luxury beauty is, like affordable makeup, right? Down here at the bottom, and you're kind of like sacrificing on experience most of the time. And then you kind of, you know, go up the circle and it's like, okay, mid-range beauty, things that you're getting a little bit more for your money, or, you know, recognizing that you're investing a little bit more for a luxury experience. Then you get all the way up to like uber luxury, and you know, that's going to be your like, you know, super precious kind of expensive skincare or your expensive makeup or whatever. And it's, you know, it's all about like what appeals to you in terms of like what's going to be worth your money for that luxury experience. But then it kind of like comes back down. You're like, it's so precious. It's a box of samples. That's what this feels like to me. It feels like a box of samples, which is really weird. And like, I travel, I will bring them, I will use them, but there is something about the preciousness of like having to open a sachet every time that makes me feel like I won't use it. You know, that like I have to kind of like put my mind towards using it in order to actually get use out of it, because it feels too precious. And I don't even know if that's it. This might be a more environmentally conscious solution. I don't know. Like, are the sachets more recyclable than something that's in like, you know, the pull-out thing that you get at like CVS or something? I have absolutely no like moral relativity in my brain about that, but it was just a little bit surprising. So let's move into final thoughts on these products here from Florasis. Talking about this eyeshadow palette, it's good enough for me to be encouraged to try more from them because I have faith in their formulations, but I do feel like my socks could be more knocked off by the tenacity of these formulas. Like, I just wish that I could tell you that they have more grip to them, especially for these beautiful spangly colors, because there's like an ocean of really beautiful spangly colors out there that do behave really tenaciously on the lids. You know, I'm thinking of like the Hourglass Scattered Light. I'm thinking of the Victoria Beckham lid lusters. Like, they really stick around on me. and this just kind of doesn't. And so I am not always the person who's going to take pains on an eyeshadow look to get something to stick around longer. And when I say, y'all, after like 3 or 4 hours it was gone, it was gone. Gone. And I'm also just not right now like in the mood to recommend buying an entire palette if like 90% of the shades aren't completely blowing my mind, because it's just a lot of eyeshadows. And the ones that I like the most in here are the neutrals and the mattes. So they probably have things on offer in that respect that are more neutral matte that you could get. Like, I will vouch for that formula. It's beautiful, it blends beautifully, and it wears a long time. It has a lot more stick-to-itiveness, but the shimmers are a little bit disappointing in the fact that like it's almost like the Nabla side by side palette, where I was like, this is so beautiful as I'm putting it on, and but it's so disappointing because it just kind of like wilts really fast. So it's a little frustrating, but I mean, good grief, look at the colors. And then my eyes. Like brown eyes, yes, that is a color for brown eyes, but you can get that color in a lot of places. The things that I am impressed with are their lip products, not just because the formulas are good, but also because just the packaging is nice to interact with. This is very different from this, obviously, but it still feels really luxurious and very like a lot more modern. But this is just a formula that is not necessarily, like the colors are not necessarily for me. It's kind of like the Rare Beauty lip oils that she came out with this year. Like, I did a whole swatching video and everything, but you can see as I'm swatching and wiping them back off, my lips are getting increasingly stained. And that's just hard for someone like me with such a low contrast complexion to really like make it look good. You know, I gotta really like go for everything else on my face to like up the contrast in order to be able to wear that in a way that looks, I feel like, you know, not super distracting. And also like candy apple kind of colors on me, things that have that really like, you know, vivid pink undertone. They just don't really flatter me that much. Beautiful formula though. And like, I can definitely vouch for the fact that there has been attention to detail for the entire, on the lips, entire experience. This is not, like I said, like all, you know, flash and no function kind of thing. So they are, you know, beautifully well thought out formulas, just not particularly my favorite formula. But this formula right here on this matte lip is great. It's just great. Like, it's so freaking comfortable. It doesn't dry out on me, especially with that, you know, the lip mask that I put on before and everything. And I haven't gotten a chance to look at all of the shades in this, but I mean, if you find a color in it that you like, I would recommend this as much as I would recommend the Prada ones. In fact, like, I don't mind the fragrance on this. The fragrance is actually really faint on this, whereas the Prada ones have a little bit stronger of a fragrance, and I would definitely compare it to the like soft matte Prada formula, like both in the appearance and the wear of it, but also in just like how long it lasts. So it does feel like luxury. So that's the vibe on Florasis. I actually have, I feel like in a good way, kind of like less to say about their products than I expected to. Like, I did come in with expectations that like there was no way that the products themselves were going to like stand up to what I felt like was almost like a compensatory measure of how beautiful they are, especially because there is something to be said for like some makeup users literally just not being able to put their finger on an embossing that's like that beautiful and detailed and mess it up. Like, there are just people who are unwilling to interact with makeup like that, but I am not one of those people. I'm like, whatever, tower card, burn it down, let's go. Yeah, I wanted to really answer for myself whether the quality is there, and I would say that for the most part, it is. These are not afterthoughts in terms of formulas, and I just like the way that the whole look came together. So I hope that this was valuable for y'all. Let me know if it was by giving it a thumbs up. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know if there's anything else from the brand that you want me to try, and thank y'all for watching. Thank you for hanging out with me today. If you are new here and you have not yet subscribed, cool people, subscribe. Subscribe if you're cool. It'd be cool if you did. And I'll put a video up here that I think you're going to enjoy if you liked this one. Thank you so much. I love you, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.